Hello. It's just gone 3 a.m. and I haven't been to bed yet. The reason I haven't been to bed is because Zara is not well. A few days ago it was Xanthi who wasn't well. Zara, who is usually as strong as an ox, she's not well. And I'm absolutely exhausted and worried and scared. I mean, it's just a virus. She just has high temperature. She's coughing and she's shivering a bit and she's waking up a lot. But it's made me stay up and keep checking her. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's brought a lot to my mind tonight. Just sitting here and thinking the situation and my kids not being well has just made me remember when I was a kid and remember one of the biggest events of my life. I'll try not to bore you with too many details, but me as a parent today, thinking about my parents, what they went through, where I was concerned. I'll just tell you very quickly. When I was 8 years old, my mom and dad noticed that I was limping. I didn't feel like I was limping, and I don't particularly remember being in any pain. Now, let me just say quickly that everything that I say is the way I remember it. Other people involved in the story, so my mom and dad, their version of this story, I think will be different because I remember this as an 8-year-old. Anyway, so my parents obviously decided to investigate what was wrong with me, why I wasn't walking properly, and somehow we got referred to an orthopedic hospital, but it wasn't in town. It was a hospital 5 hours away. Now, I was born in Bauchi in Nigeria. That's where we grew up. And Kano is in the north as well. Both predominantly Muslim states. That is important because of what I'm going to tell you. And we're Christians, okay? So we got, referred to this hospital in Kano, which is about, if you don't stop, it's about a 5-hour trip by car. So, sorry, I must apologize for the way I look. It has been quite a long day and I haven't been to bed yet. So I'm sorry. I have taken my contact lenses out though, so hence my thick glasses. Okay, so we go to Kano. They do all the X-rays and everything, and all I got from all of that was that there's a cyst on my bone. So it's on my thigh bone. Said that there was a cyst on my bone. I didn't know what that meant going forward. I don't know what information my parents got, but that's what I got. And we were to come back. If I remember correctly, we were to come back in about 10 days. So we go back. Life goes on. And then the first religious crisis. So there was a riot in town. It was the first one from what I remember. Again, the information I had as a child was that Christians were being killed. So, again, we are at home and the phone rings. My cousin answers the phone, hangs up and starts to rush around. Let's go, get this, get that. And I don't understand what's going on. Within 5 minutes, my mom's friend was parked in front of our house and we're being bundled into her car. My brother, he was barely dressed, bundled into her car. My sister was about maybe a year or 2 years old, if I remember correctly. And now, again, as the eldest, my cousin's older. How I remember this is Christians are getting killed. My mom's friend is a a Muslim, so she was like taking us to her house to be safe. Because as a Christian family, we were not safe. So anyway, she took us to her house. I'm not sure where my mom and dad were. I think my mom and dad were at work. This is before mobile phones, okay? So for us, it's fine. You know, we get to play with her kids because they were our friends and she had a nice house. So I'm a bit of a tomboy anyway, or I was a bit of a tomboy. And I'm riding somebody's bicycle and I fall. Not a big fall, nothing spectacular, except the fact that I actually hear a crack. Trust me, it's a sound you don't want to hear. My bone. I just knew that my bone had I just knew my leg was broken. I heard it break. Start to scream. It's the worst pain I have ever experienced. Now, my childbearing, giving birth to my kids, that was done via C-section. But so, I could cope with that and I was an adult anyway. But as a child, my bone breaking, the worst thing, the pain was just, I can't explain it to you. So that happens. But the thing is, they can't take me to hospital because it's not safe. It's not safe to take me to hospital. I think hospitals were actually shut. I don't know if they could reach my mom and dad or not. I don't know. There were no mobile phones. As an adult, I just realized, I recognized what an inconvenience that was. Because moving me from the floor to a bed, that in itself, anyway. Somebody comes up with this wonderful idea that there's a guy nearby who, it wasn't that nearby. Because I remember it wasn't a part of town that I recognized. But he was like a local doctor. Not a doctor like you would understand. A doctor who had never ever been to school in his life. He was like a bone setter. And they were going to take me to him. So they said to me, it's going to be very painful. So basically, if you need to use the toilet, use it now because there's a chance you might wet yourself while this guy is sorting out your leg. So they take me to him. No painkillers, no regard for the fact that my leg is broken or that I'm just a little 8-year-old kid. This guy just picks my leg up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, and starts to massage my thigh to set the bone. I cannot tell you how painful that was. He put some ointment and then put some sticks all around my bone and then ties lots and lots of rags really tight. Says he'll see me the next day. My parents come, they say, tell them what's happened. I remember the look on, especially my mom, I remember the look on their faces. What do we do now? That kind of situation. What do we do now? The riots were still going on. I think we stayed at my mom's friend's house a couple of days. And then the riots were sort of calming down. So it was relatively safe to go home. And I think why it was important to go home as well was because my appointment in Kano, 5 hours away, was coming. And there I am, unable to walk with this leg. The guy came back, did the leg again. And then the decision was now, do they take me on this appointment or not? We don't know, once we start to travel, we don't know how bad the riots are because it was moving. And I tell you, hundreds of people were killed, okay? No police anywhere. Hospitals were closed down. Nobody was going anywhere if they could help it. The only medical attention that I could get was 5 hours away. So my mom and dad made the decision. They made the right decision, in my opinion, which was they had to get me seen by a doctor. I had this appointment that had come up. They had to get me seen, especially as they said I had a cyst on my bone. So, what does that mean? There was no internet back then. I have a cyst on the bone. The bone is broken. you have to see a doctor. So the day came. We woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Very quietly, they put me in the back seat. But not everybody was coming. It was just going to be my dad and I. What a day, I tell you. The way I remember it, the way I remember that day, I wonder how my dad remembers it, you know. I remember, waking up, going back to sleep, waking up, not being very comfortable in the back seat, my leg aching, then being okay because I was on painkillers. And then suddenly I was asleep. And what sort of woke me up was my dad praying under his breath. He was still a new Christian at the time, as though I'd been a Christian before my dad. So my dad was muttering, obviously praying under his breath. And then I remember again, this is the part where I say, as an 8-year-old, what I remember is, I remember fire. I remember seeing some buildings on fire. I remember seeing crowds of people. We're not sure if those crowds were friendly or were not. I remember gunshots. I remember hearing gunshots. There was a lot of activity, and my father was speeding. He was not stopping to check what was he was flying through, because the riot was going on in that village as we were driving past. He was muttering under his breath, praying and flying. I could see fire. I could hear there was commotion. That's the way I remember it. I remember commotion. Anyway, we got past, continued the journey, and we made it to the hospital in time. Well, we made it to the hospital safe. More x-rays, got seen by the doctors again. They didn't express surprise that the bone had broken. I think they were actually expecting it to break. Then they rolled me in my bed to the ward. And then they said, the children's ward is full, so you're going to be in the women's ward. They put me in the women's ward. There's nobody my age there. At 8 years old, there was a girl who was about 12 or 13, but she had a broken arm, so she could walk around. But then it's just me in my bed 4. It was a Wednesday. I was 8 years old. Quite a very long room, There was somebody in bed 30. So to show you how long the room was, so it's like 15 beds on each side. I won't bore you, not yet, with the details of my stay. The male nurse that was pushing my bed along, I asked him, how long am I going to be here? Because my dad was still talking to the doctors. And he said, oh, you just be here 2 or 3 weeks. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I can handle 2 or 3 weeks. So not this coming Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I might be going home. This is the way I was thinking. Or if it's 3 weeks, then it'll be the next Wednesday after that. In my head, I was prepared for that. My dad came, saw me. He had to go. He came again the next day. And then he had to go back home. And then there's me. With these women, everybody was knitting. Everybody had a fan that they were using because it was quite hot. I had my mom's Walkman that she gave me, and I had my Bible. After some days, my mom sends my auntie, who I feel indebted to forever, because she must have given up a lot to come and visit me every day. She must have been staying somewhere in town. I have no idea where she was staying. But she used to come and see me during visiting hours every day. And then she'll ask me, what do you want to eat tomorrow for dinner? And whatever I said, she'll cook. I don't know where she was cooking. I don't know who she was living with. And she'd bring it to me. I can't imagine what a woman in her 20s. I can't imagine how she must have felt to just do this journey every day. Come and sit down with an 8-year-old in hospital a couple of hours every day. but she did it. Sometimes she'd have to go. So some days, maybe up to a week, sometimes when she wouldn't be around. Maybe because she had to go, I think she was studying at the time as well. My mom and dad, my brother and sister, I used to see them every Saturday. Oh, I cannot tell you, I lived for Saturdays. Saturdays were the most important day in my life. It was a day I got to see my mom and dad and my brother and sister. I was in that hospital for 3 months. As I say, I won't bore you with the details of my stay in hospital, but it was for 3 months. Bedridden. Couldn't move. I had weights. Never mind, but 3 months in bed for 3 months. I saw my parents every Saturday. The point of this video is, as an adult, as a mom, I now recognize what my mom and dad did for me. I now recognize the weight of that decision. I mean, my mom and dad had to work. They had bills. There were bills to be paid. Here in the UK, we have the NHS and health is free. In Nigeria, you get the health care that you can afford. So my mom and dad had to work. I mean, Zara is upstairs with a temperature and she's coughing. And I'm trying to just, while I'm in front of her, I'm trying to keep it together and not cry. And I'm going out of my mind because my baby is not feeling well. I can't imagine what my mom and dad, how they felt with their child 5 hours away in hospital with strangers. I cannot thank my parents enough. I cannot thank my auntie enough. I never felt unloved. I never felt left. I felt like my parents loved me so much. And even now as an adult, I feel it even more. I cannot imagine myself in that situation. I mean, Zara was in hospital for 9 weeks and I moved into that hospital. We lived in hospital. They gave us a room. But for my parents to be able to go on, to I cannot thank them enough. If you see parents who have sick children, offer to help. If you're a parent yourself, you know how difficult it is. Imagine parents who have disabled children. I have so much respect for you. If you wake up every single day with that struggle, as I say, I'm going out of my mind. I know that tomorrow or day after tomorrow, Zara and Zanti are going to be completely fine. All they need is a bit of ibuprofen and paracetamol. But for parents who every day this is the situation, every day there's medication to be given, every day there's the worry, every day you're faced with children who are just not well or children who are disabled. I respect you so much. And if you know any parent who is going through that situation, please offer help. I mean, there were times when my mom and dad, either my mom couldn't come or my dad couldn't come. And somebody from church, I remember one time, somebody from church brought my mom and my sister and my brother to see me because my dad couldn't make it that week. Or when my class, all of them each person wrote me a letter. Or I'll get, a message from this person or a message from that person. Or even when Zara was in hospital and our church and friends, some people cooked our meals. Some people offered to do our laundry, do our grocery shopping. Some people gave us money. Some people were just there, And I tell you what, I appreciate it so much. I appreciated it. And those people have become friends for life. Some of them don't realize how much they mean to me. I don't want to babble, I don't want to ramble on. All I want to say is, if you see a parent going through, please be there for them. If you see a parent who has to deal with a child who is perpetually ill, please be there for them. Because I think, my opinion, it's the most difficult thing ever. Because you can't make your child better. You can't take their pain away. Sometimes the children are that young, they can't communicate what's wrong with them. Just dealing with that emotional, it's traumatic. It really is traumatic. Anyway, I'm not going to edit this video. I don't even know how to edit anything yet. I've decided to do this YouTube thing. I'm still not advertising the fact. And I still don't know how long I'm going to do it for. But this is it. This is raw. This is me. You know, it's about, oh gosh, it's 4:15 in the morning. I've got work tomorrow, by the way. I've got work tomorrow. Oh, sorry, should I say I've got work today? I don't want to ramble. But I think the purpose of this video was, first of all, to just acknowledge my mom and dad, the sacrifices that they made. As an adult, as a parent, I now understand, and I say thank you. I don't know if they'll ever watch this video. I don't know if I'll be courageous enough to show them. If you know any parents who are going through the ordeal, the trauma of having a sick child or a disabled child, please be there for them. They will never forget it. And I also want to acknowledge parents who are going through that situation where you're having to make this life-changing, potentially life-changing decisions for your children every single day. It's not easy. It takes too much of your emotion. It takes too much of you away. And I appreciate that. And I wish you the best. And I wish your little kids or adult kids, I pray for them. And I pray that some kind of healing comes to you and your family. If you've watched it up to now, it's over 20 minutes long. My goodness. Thank you. Good night. Well, good morning.